Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk about everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Paul Skenes Day to all of you who celebrate here in less than 40 minutes. Your Pittsburgh Pirates back in PNC Park tonight. They will play game 1 of 3 against the Houston Astros. Paul Skenes on the bump. Nick Gonzalez, a very much missed bat in this lineup, will return tonight. He was activated off of the IL earlier today. Also today, we are going to talk about some Pittsburgh Steelers news. Of course, OTAs still going on. Week 2 of OTAs beginning today. We'll talk about some notable things that went on in today's practice, but also the Steelers in contact with a possible wide receiver 2 solution. Gabe Davis, wide receiver formerly of the Buffalo Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars. He is scheduled to visit the Steelers on Thursday. He will be in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Also, some breaking news from Adam Schefter are that the Jonnu Smith trade talks are not dead yet. We will break that down here in a moment, plus much, much more. First thing is first, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. I would appreciate that very much. We are up to 390 subscribers, 10 away from the big 400 on the channel. Also, like and share this video and comment in the live chat if you are here right now. I'd appreciate it very much. I like interacting with you fine people that way, so get any questions, comments, concerns, whatever is on your mind in the comment section, and I can pop those up on the screen and we can talk about things that way. Now into the news here today. Let's start with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the big news out of the South Side today. Adam Schefter this morning posting that the former Bills and Jaguars wide receiver Gabe Davis is scheduled to travel to Pittsburgh tomorrow on Wednesday and visit with the Steelers on Thursday. Schefter goes on tweeting, Pittsburgh has been seeking additional receiving help and has inquired about, but is not expected to trade for Miami tight end Jonnu Smith. More on that second part here in a minute. Let's talk about Gabe Davis here. Let me bring up his Football Reference page real quick. Hang on here. He is right here. Yes, Pro Football Reference page for Gabe Davis. In his career, Davis, 26 years old, 183 catches for 2,969 yards, so almost 3,000 yards in his career. Also, 29 touchdowns, great production in his first 5 NFL seasons. Davis, 6'2", 225, so he does carry some size to him. That is good to see. Was born in Stanford, went to college at Central Michigan last year with the Jaguars, played in 10 games, had 20 receptions for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns. He then missed the rest of the season with an injury. Spent the first 4 years of his 5-year career with the Buffalo Bills, where he had solid production. Year 1, 599 yards, 7 touchdowns. Year 2, 549, 6 touchdowns. Year 3, was his best year to date, 836 yards with 7 touchdowns. And then year 4 in Buffalo with Josh Allen, 746 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. The receptions, 35, 35, 48, 45. So solid production the first 4 years of his career with the Buffalo Bills, then signed as a free agent with Jacksonville. Like I said, he got injured, only played in 10 games. But hey, if the Steelers, if they're heading this way, you could talk me into Gabe Davis, honestly. The reason why he was released from the Jaguars, he had a failed physical designation, and he had visits with other 2 teams earlier this offseason, but no deal was struck. More on Davis. He will earn an $11.5 million from the Jaguars this upcoming season. So it is likely that you don't need to pay too much to get him to sign here. You could take the route that you took with Russell Wilson last year if you're the Steelers. Pay this guy a veteran minimum, and let the other team pay the majority of that $11.5 million price tag. But, Davis here, is he the best option out there? He might be, honestly. I know the top options out there in terms of, free agent wide receivers. You're looking at Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper. Keenan Allen, savvy veteran, been there, done that guy, sort of similar to what you had in George Pickens, who is a taller guy. He'll go up and he'll get the ball from time to time, bring in everything that is thrown his way. Amari Cooper, slightly younger than Keenan Allen, think 30 years old. He's more of a route runner guy, could be the perfect complement to DK Metcalf, in my opinion. But Gabe Davis here, I like to think he's more of the middle ground between Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper. He's not as good as either of those two, but at his very best in Buffalo, you saw him be a somewhat reliable wide receiver too, behind Stephon Diggs for all those years. And I think it'd be a good investment for the Steelers. He's going to have a lot to prove. He's coming off injury, which of course is going to scare everyone away, but he's got a lot to prove, and he will, I think, benefit better here than he did in Jacksonville. Of course, he doesn't have Trevor Lawrence throwing him the ball, but once Christian Kirk went down a couple of years ago with a collarbone injury, you saw Gabe Davis get more and more involved in that offense, and behind Brian Thomas Jr., he could have, I think near the end of his year last year, but right before he got injured, you saw him get more and more production. So I could maybe talk myself into it a little bit, but I think he's more towards what you currently have, Robert Woods, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, then you do have a legit wide receiver too. So that is the newest bit of news on the Steelers. Wide receiver Gabe Davis will be visiting with them Thursday. Visited 2 other places already, did not get a deal done. If he is healthy, I would take it. It'll be a patchwork wide receiver until maybe if you're doing good, you get something better at the trade deadline, or you get something better next year. But hey, 26 years old, still pretty young in the league. Got 4 years left before, wide receivers hit that age 30 season when things start to go downhill. So we will see what all comes of it here in the coming days. Gabe Davis could be the newest Pittsburgh Steeler. Back to the Jonnu Smith news. I read you the last part of Adam Schefter's tweet saying that even though the Steelers inquired but are unlikely to trade for Jonnu Smith, Schefter, he just dropped in with a bomb right before I went live 8 minutes ago, now 20 minutes ago, tweeting back in it. The Steelers renewed conversations today with Dolphins tight end Jonnu Smith, who is seeking a new contract. The trade between the Steelers and Dolphins is still alive, per source. So Schefter, not even 12 hours after tweeting the Gabe Davis news, comes back and is having a source off with himself here. I think that per source, I talked about this yesterday, is Drew Rosenhaus, Jonnu Smith's agent, who Rosenhaus, he's a big player agent around the league. I think that is him saying, hey, like, we had a deal, Schefter. I told you to, put this out there about my guy, and I will give you the next big scoop. So do not let this Gabe Davis news distract away that me and my client are trying to get something done here in Miami or go elsewhere. So put that back out there. We'll see here. Jonnu Smith or Gabe Davis. If I had to choose between the two, criticize me for not going with the wide receiver because it's a bigger position of need right now. I would go with Jonnu Smith. You got a 30-year-old tight end coming off an all-pro season in which he set records down in Miami. I will take that and just run the 2 tight end Arthur Smith system over and over and over again than I would get, Gabe Davis, who you don't know. He's probably most likely going to be a merchant of Josh Allen, but maybe there's something in there that you can tap. Perfect world, go get both. If you're going to get at best low-end wide receiver 2, if not very high-end wide receiver 3, which you have a bunch of already in Gabe Davis, go get the I'll go get the Pro Bowl tight end as well and have him go run routes alongside Pat Freiermuth. Steelers, they are in the business where you do not complain about where production is coming from what position at this point, especially on offense, because after trading away George Pickens, you need weapons any which way you can get him on. You can get him on that side of the ball. So that is what's going on with now 2 potential acquisitions the Steelers can make. While I'm at it here, let me go real quick. Let's talk about a OTA update here today. The Steelers back in action for week 2 of OTAs. And of course, like always, going to go through, sort of try to go position by position, talking about them here. Week 2 of day 1 of week 2 out of 2 of OTAs. Some talk around the Steelers quarterback position today, and not for the reasons you think, not because, when is Aaron Rodgers going to sign, or, how's Will Howard looking? It's because of what happened on Friday. I talked about it a little bit on stream. Mason Rudolph, Miles Killebrew, special teams captain, and legendary running back Rocky Bleier, they attended a rally for the U.S. Steel Nippon merger where President Donald Trump was. And apparently some Steelers fans sent in angry letters complaining about those 3, but mainly Killebrew and Rudolph, the current players' appearance at the rally. And with that, the Steelers, they responded to those fans, pretty much saying that, players on their own time, they are free to do whatever they want, and whatever they do, no matter if you like it or dislike it, don't reflect what the Steelers, pretty much textbook PR 101 there, saying that, our players are free to do whatever they want, and we're not going to comment on whether it's good or bad. Well, following that up, of course, at practice today, where Killebrew and Rudolph were, they were, of course, questioned about their appearance there with the president. And Rudolph here, one of his quotes was, "I've got a lifelong friend who works in DC and invited me. It was a pretty incredible opportunity to meet literally guys who make steel. I had never been to a steel mill before. It was pretty impressive. Sounds like a great new investment. It's going to help to create jobs and bolster the Pittsburgh economy. It was a full experience." So that was Mason talking about why he was there at the merger, talking about the backlash from him being there up on stage, shaking hands, putting arms around the president. Rudolph said, "There's backlash every day. You look on social media. That's the nature of social media. It's the nature of why America's so great, because everyone is entitled to their own opinion and speech is free." Miles Killebrew also asked about it. He said he took a more direct approach, saying, "Here's the deal. I remember what it was like being a kid, and me and my friends growing up, we either wanted to be the president or have the chance to meet him one day. And yesterday, I got to meet the president. I'm not apologetic about that," Killebrew said. "For anyone who thinks that's a bad thing, to be honest, I couldn't care less. I wasn't there signing legislation. I was just there meeting the president, and glad I did." So Rudolph and Killebrew responding to some angry Steelers fans that they were pictured with the president. And here's the thing here. I'm not, gonna get too political on here. I'd like to stay out of that stuff. And I'm all about keeping politics out of sports. But if you're a Steelers fan and you wanted to, write up an angry tweet, take your time out of your day to bash Mason Rudolph and Miles Killebrew for going to an event where the president also was, don't act like that's all of a sudden going to switch your complete and total fandom of this team off. Don't act like if week 1 Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback and he runs out of that tunnel, that you aren't going to be 100% rooting for him in the team. So that's my opinion on it. Leave politics out of sports. Everybody's free to, do their own thing. I'm sure there was, backlash, both ways, going back to when I think Jerome Bettis was endorsing Kamala Harris. The Rooney family, they've been notoriously left-leaning family. So, you know what? Either way, people are going to complain. I'm just saying, like, why are we even bothering? Everybody's free to their own opinion. Everybody does their own thing. If Mason Rudolph and Miles Killebrew didn't like it, then guess what? Just say, oh, I didn't like that. Move on about your day. No need to make a big fuss about it like everything else going on in the world. There's more important things to get upset and tweet about in this world, and I don't think that's one of them. So, again, listen to that. Don't bitch and then act like this is going to shift your fandom and you're all of a sudden going to go be a Raven or Bengals fan. So that's my opinion on it. Let's just move on here, leave politics out of it. Back to OTAs, as I was saying. Running back Caleb Johnson, he got put to the test today. Over and over again, he told the media, running back coach Eddie Faulkner made him rep a pass blocking technique drill over and over again repeatedly until he got it right. They were drilling him on pass pro pretty heavily all day today. Johnson said, I want to be one of the best out there, so I'm just going to keep striving to do my great and keep learning from the vets. Great mindset there from Caleb Johnson. I like what I've seen from him so far. He looks smooth. He also looks massive compared to the other running backs in the room right now. I think the Steelers got an absolute steal with him in the mid-third round, and excited to see him continue to grow through these OTAs and get him on the field here in training camp and in some preseason games. And him working on this pass pro pretty heavily, that is a good thing, because usually out of running back prospects coming out of the draft, one of the most common things that you will see on, not necessarily cons, but things they need to work on, is the pass protection. And if he can pick that up, he certainly has the frame to do it. Then I think he could be a multifaceted weapon in this offense, just like Jaylen Warren, if not a lot better. On to the wide receivers. Not too much news on them today. Wide receiver Roman Wilson, he looked smooth and healthy again. Just the hype train around this guy. He technically is a rookie, heading into this year after missing most of last season. But great stuff from him. He looks fast and healthy again. Same thing with Rock Taylor, the undrafted free agent signee out of Memphis, UDFA, that I really liked that the Steelers picked up. He was out there today. He did some independent work, I believe, Thursday last week, which was an indication that he might have been dealing with a bit of an injury, but he looked good out there today, back with the main group. Onto the tight end position. Not much on Pat Freiermuth today. I don't even think he practiced. He was there, but I don't think he did work at all, taking a sort of an off day, but showing up. So focus was on tight end Darnell Washington, and he said today that in the offseason, he dropped 10 to 15 pounds, slimming down a bit, and he says that he is in the best shape he's been since his days at Georgia. Of course, coming out of the draft, he was dealing with some knee issues, and I'm sure he was dealing with some notable bumps and bruises throughout his first 2 years in the league. But Darnell dropping 10 to 15 pounds, watching the videos from today, he looks like he could be, if you don't go out and get a Jonnu Smith, looks like he could be involved more in the passing game. Usually when he gets the ball, he's like a Mack truck. Good luck tackling him, but he didn't, show much in terms of elusiveness or route running abilities. So maybe him shaving off that 10 to 15 pounds will benefit him, make him more of the great dual threat that we think he can be as both a pass blocker, a run blocker, and a pass catching tight end. So good news there. And for those of you worried about, maybe he's dropped the 10, 15 pounds, he's going to possibly take a step back as a blocker. I watched this dude today, a video of him going up against one of the blocking sleds. He lifted that thing up like what dads do with their little 2-year-old children, and they do like the airplane rocket ship thing. He picked that thing up like it was weightless. So I don't think we need to worry about Darnell Washington being any less dominant in the run game just because he shaved off a couple of pounds. Moving over to the defense real quick. Steelers rookies, Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black, they were running together today through drills, and they looked good. Cam Hayward also still there at OTAs. some great stuff there from the veterans showing up every day, leading by example there. But Y.A. Black and Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black, he is built every bit like the F-350, whatever the hell Mike Tomlin called him after they drafted him. And these two young studs, I hope they get a lot of time on the field this year because they look like they could be dominant in the trenches in a very trench-driven AFC North now. Looking at the linebackers, focus again on Cole Holcomb. Once again, flying around out there. It is so great to see him healthy after that big, massive injury scare a couple of years ago where it looked like he could be done playing football altogether. He looks phenomenal, moving very well. I think he could be a great addition to this defense and be that nice two-way inside linebacker where he is an absolute sledgehammer in the run defense, and he can also drop back into coverage and get some good work in there. Spoke about his injury today to the media. He said, quote, "Looking back, like you never know one play can end your season. You take stuff for granted. So now I'm just soaking everything up, enjoying it, having fun with it. It felt great to be back out with my guys." Great stuff there from Cole Holcomb. And once again, just couldn't be happier to see him back in the black and gold and get out on the field here. I could see him getting a good bit of work here in training camp. Hopefully he can show that he is all the way back and nothing will be lingering from that injury. Last thing here on Steelers OTAs today, Corey Trice, he reflected heavily on his matchup with Jamar Chase last year, and he said that even though he got a little bit of praise for being a 7th round rookie going up against the best wide receiver in the NFL, in my opinion, he said he will not let it happen again. Jamar, I think he had a pretty good day on him, but there were points where Trice did hold his own. He said, "I'm used to not letting up nothing." Of course, he was one of the best corner prospects coming out of the draft a few years ago out of Purdue before he got injured. He said, "What happened there, it will never happen again." Great mindset there from Corey Trice. This team thinks highly of him, and he thinks highly of himself, and that there is room to improve. And if he could figure it out, continue to get better every day, depending on how Joey Porter Jr. does on the other side, if he could, fill in that shoes as a number 1 lockdown corner, Corey Trice, he could be a nice counterpart. And Mike Tomlin says he loves Corey Trice. He's that avatar. If Trice can develop into a dependable starter, you got 2 avatars on the outside there to get things going here on defense. Sorry, taking one more look. Had a notification pop up there. Real quick, before we get into some hockey talking in the last news story of the day, let's talk about the Bucs. They are back in action here tonight. Got Sportsnet Pittsburgh on to my right. First pitch here in about 15 minutes. It is a Paul Skenes day on the mound, coming off his dominant showing against the Arizona Diamondbacks last week, in which he went 6 scoreless innings, also struck out 7. He's going to have some help again tonight. A good chance that he gets good run support again. They are going up against a tough team in the Houston Astros. They're tough every year. Lance McCullers will go against the Pirates lineup here tonight. But the newest addition to the lineup, the return of Nick Gonzalez. Nicky G, who literally, I think, had 1, if not 2 at-bats this year. We remember back in game 1 of the year, the literal first game of the year against the Miami Marlins, Nicky G hits a home run, and as he's trotting to first base, pulled something in his leg, got around the base pads, left the game, and that was it for him. He had a non-fracture injury to his ankle, but it is something where I'm not sure if he got surgery on it. I think he did, and he's been out for the past couple of months now. He returns to the lineup tonight. Good to see him back. the rehab assignment that he had down in AAA was officially ended today by the Pirates. Corresponding move, utility man Nick Solak, who he's been riding the pine up here for like the past 2 weeks now. He only got, I think, one pity at bat in the blowout against the Arizona Diamondbacks last week. He was optioned outright to AAA, so he is taken off the 40-man roster, and now he will be in Indianapolis. That made room for Nicky G on the 26-man roster up here in the majors. Also, some bullpen help could be on the way. Right-handed pitcher Kyle Nicholas was recalled from AAA Indy. First go-around up here this season after starting the year in the minors did not go so well. He got hit around a bunch, also walked a couple of guys, got sent back down. Hopefully, it was like David Bednar earlier this year. Bednar, even though he started the year with the major league team, went down to AAA a little bit, sort of had some pressure taken off of him, comes back up. Bednar, he's been a solid reliever for the most part since returning. Hopefully that's the same thing for Kyle Nicholas. High expectations, high vibes around him. He was one of the Bucs' better relievers last year. Hopefully he could find whatever mojo he had then and bring it into this season here tonight. Bucs lineup tonight going against the Lance McCullers. O'Neal Cruz leading off again in center field. Andrew McCutchen DH. Brian Reynolds right field. Spencer Horwitz at first base. No change to the top four in the lineup. Alexander Canario, he is in left field batting fifth tonight. Nick Gonzalez, the returning Nick Gonzalez, he will bat sixth at second base, back at his normal position. Henry Davis bumps down the lineup a little bit. Had a good series against the Diamondbacks, then had a little bit of a downshift against the Padres. He slides back to the 7-hole, catching Skenes, of course. Key Brian Hayes, he bats eighth at third base, and then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, the setup man for the top of the order, who's been swinging a hot bat lately, will bat ninth, playing shortstop. So as close as you can get to an A lineup for this Bucs team. The only thing that you could change about this lineup is if Joey Bart was maybe healthy, he'd be the better bat in there over Henry Davis. But Hank, he's Skeen's personal catcher, and hopefully he could get some mojo back here tonight against the Astros, as does the rest of the lineup here. Should have taken at least 2 out of 3 from the Padres on that last series of the road trip. Instead, they got 1 out of 3, had a chance to win all 3. But we will see how things go tonight. Paul Skenes on the mound. Happy Skenes Day to all of you who celebrate. 6 of you in here right now. I appreciate you all joining me here tonight. If you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. We are 10 away from 400 on the channel. I'd appreciate it if you do so. Let's get up to 400. Also, turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, like and share this video and comment in the live chat, just like my man Flacco. Welcome back, Flacco. Hope all is well. Couldn't get on earlier. That is all right, Flacco. Glad you are here right now. Just chit-chatting. The main broadcast for tonight's Bucs and Stros game has just gone live. Greg Brown and Bob Walk in the booth. Paul Skenes getting ready to hop over that third base line to Q Country Roads here in a moment. Real quick, before we get through the random news story segment of the show, let's talk about some Pittsburgh Penguins news real quick. And the news is that there is no news yet. Yesterday we talked about, I believe it was Pierre LeBrun, who posted that the Boston Bruins, they are the second team with the Penguins having yet to fill their head coaching vacancy, saying that the Bruins could come to a hiring this week and that they are down to their final 2 candidates. Also, there was another insider, I forget right now who it was, that said that the Penguins, they too are down to their last 2 candidates. And since then, that was early yesterday morning that we heard about that. There has been no news about any coaching hires. The only thing that I saw was, let me find it here. I believe it was Evan Rainerts. So Evan Rainerts, a former hockey scout analyst for Fox Sports, he posted last night that he was told yesterday that Kyle Dubas, Penguins general manager, has been delaying a decision on a new coach, which, he mentions Mitch Love as a highly likely candidate there, because he wants to see if there may be a change of the coaching carousel potentially. So Dubas may be waiting for another shoe to drop around the league, see if maybe there's another coach added to the pool of options. With that, Rainerts said, I know a lots of talk about DJ Smith, the former Ottawa Senators head coach, current Tampa Bay Lightning assistant coach, getting selected due to him and Dubas' relationship. But right now, Mitch loves it's his job if he wants it. Just a few things tying that up. So Rainerts saying that Dubas could be waiting for something else to change in the coaching carousel. We might have an idea of what that could be. Kevin Weeks, NHL Insider, posted last night the eyeball emoji. Everybody knows the eyeball emoji saying, hey, keep your eye on this. Something could be coming. And he posted a picture of American Airlines Arena, home of the Dallas Stars. So everybody's like, okay, what's that about? Then David Pagnotta, another NHL insider, said that noise out of Dallas is that Pete DeBoer, per multiple sources, players are not pleased with how DeBoer handled several situations during the Stars' Western Conference Final playoff series, along with post-Game 5 and exit media remarks. He was told that players voiced their concerns during internal exit interviews and that DeBoer has 1 year left on his contract, which could make, this is just me here now, which 1 year left on his contract, players upset with him. Could Pete DeBoer, after getting the Stars to the Western Conference Finals, one series away from a Stanley Cup final appearance, could he be canned and could he be an option for the Penguins? Now, DeBoer, he's been in the league for a while now. Hell, the Penguins, they beat him in the 16 Stanley Cup finals against the San Jose Sharks. Since then, DeBoer, aside from winning the big one, getting to the Stanley Cup final, winning the big one, and getting over that hump as a coach, he's had a lot of success in playoffs. He's had a lot of success with his teams. His teams, they finished up and down the chart, whether it's winning the division or making it as a wild card. And he's won a lot of playoff series, and he's been known as Mr. Game 7 recently. I believe he is on a streak of, I might be wrong on this, but I'm sure he's on a streak of where he's won like 7 straight Game 7s as a coach. So he is a Game 7 warrior. The only thing I could get behind a Pete DeBoer hiring, he's had success with Vegas, Dallas, the Sharks. So big market, small market, doesn't matter where he coaches, he gets success out of his players. But just the unfortunate thing about this is that I think he isn't the right coach for the Penguins right now. We know what Kyle Dubas is looking for in a coach this offseason. He said so. He said, I want a guy who not necessarily is a retread from elsewhere in the league. That immediately eliminated back then John Tortorella, Joel Quenneville, all that. He said he wants a coach, a young coach, fresh philosophy, who will grow with the current young players in the organization, whether at the NHL level or in the minors. And he was looking towards the college ranks, the minor leagues, and Europe for their next head coach. So if DeBoer does get canned, nothing of the sort has come out yet. He'd be a very enticing option for the Penguins. I wonder if him having all the success that he's had recently, if that would change Kyle Dubas' mind. But I think we might be too late in the process for that to happen. So just something to keep an eye on. Pete DeBoer could be on his way out of Dallas. He'd be the top coaching candidate immediately upon his firing, and I could very well see him not being on the open market that much, that very long. I think other teams would fire their head coaches immediately for just the chance at hiring Pete DeBoer. But we'll see. Right now, we're still eyes on Pittsburgh and Boston, especially the two names, DJ Smith and Mitch Love. Mitch Love, especially the assistant coach for the Washington Capitals. He has gotten interviewed a bunch by the Penguins and other teams. And now I think it's Boston and the Penguins who are eyeing Love the hardest. If not, it's DJ Smith or possibly Jay Woodcroft, the former Oilers head coach. So that's it for Hockey Talk there. We will keep an eye on that situation. Like I said, we will go live as fast as possible if the Penguins do make a head coaching hire. Until then, we will keep an eye on that here. The Bucs game about to get underway here. LOL and no news. Yes, there it is, Flocko, the eye emoji from Kevin Weeks. So that's pretty much it there on that front. The rest of the week should be set up pretty interestingly for the football and hockey team. Of course, the Bucs, they're going to be playing games. I think they play 9 straight home games coming up, but hockey could be looking for the Penguins to hire a head coach here soon. And for the football team, wide receiver 2 could be Gabe Davis. Could they still trade for Jonnu Smith? Highly unlikely, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Exciting times here. Pretty much one of the more exciting times in the offseason, aside from, of course, free agency and the draft and whatnot for hockey, at least. Back to Flacco real quick. Gabe Davis, you may have spoke about him, but I'm not interested. Yeah, I did talk about Gabe Davis. If I had to pick between Jonnu Smith and Gabe Davis, I'm taking Jonnu Smith 9 times out of 10. However, could be a, interesting boom bust investment. A guy who played well with Josh Allen up in Buffalo and then sort of had a down year with the Jaguars. He did get hurt, but before he got hurt, I think he was starting to tick up in production a little bit. But you know what? A guy who has, I think I saw 29 touchdowns in his career, I will take it if we could get that guy. At this point, Steelers, they can't complain about adding any, weapon of any sort on offense. All right, as the Bucs game is getting ready to get underway behind me here, let's roll through the more Pittsburgh news segment of the program. Back to football real quick. Had him in my mind because of the Gabe Davis news. Ian Rappaport, he was on the Pat McAfee show here today, and he talked for a minute about Aaron Rodgers and where things stand. And Flacco, back to your comment about the news being no news. That's exactly what Rappaport said. And, no news from him. If not, things are looking more gloomy. Just a couple of his quotes from the Pat McAfee show saying, the Steelers are hoping and believing that Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback. He continued on saying they still don't 100% know that, though. Great news from Schefter and Aaron Rodgers. He still has this organization by the cojones. They are at Rodgers' mercy right now, and the Steelers, they've backed themselves into this terrible situation. At this point, I think most fans are just saying, screw it, let's go with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. We just want this saga to be over. Aaron Rodgers, ever since, last week, he was on Joe Rogan, and he was at a freaking concert of some rapper I never even heard of, squirting water guns, saying, oh, yeah, I'd never played for the Chicago Bears, but there's a team that plays Chicago this year I'd like to go. Very vague-ass answer there. So, Rappaport doesn't know. We don't know. The Steelers don't even know what the hell Aaron Rodgers is going to do. We'll wait and see if anything else goes on. At this point, don't think there's any chance in hell, barring some coming to whatever god of the week he is honoring. I don't see him any freaking reason or way why he is going to be at any mandatory OTAs here coming up soon. On to a bit of darker news for the Steelers here. Never fun to talk about this stuff, but Browns linebacker, former Steelers linebacker, first round pick Devin Bush. He appeared in court today and waived his right to preliminary hearing on domestic violence charges stemming from a May incident at his home in Bell Acres. Not sure where Bell Acres is. I think, if I remember correctly, back to that, it's somewhere local to Pittsburgh. So Devin Bush, he's still dealing with that off the field issue. He will be in court for a formal arraignment on July 18th. Last bit of news on the Steelers here. Last night, Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles, probably wondering what the hell this has to do here with the Steelers. He said that the Bucs will have a joint practice with the Steelers before their preseason game. And that preseason game is in August, and it is in Pittsburgh. So I wonder whether that joint practice will be held at the Rooney Sports Complex facility, where I think there are 4 football fields back there. They might be using Pitt's outside practice field as well. There is also an inside field, or whether it's there or Acrisure Stadium, I don't know. But that should be interesting. The more I thought about it, I think it was like last year or 2 years ago. Remember, everybody was, having these joint practices before they play each other in their preseason games. And those joint practices, that is where it is half practice, half of it UFC free-for-all. Like, we could see some fireworks there. Cam Hayward, I'm quite sure he'll mix stuff up. He's always the guy starting fights as the leader. Steelers, good thing they got big guys, Derek Harmon, Jack Sawyer, Y.A. Black, because they might need him in this joint practice. Also, be a cool picture. I'm sure they'll get a picture if he is still on the Buccaneers team by then. Dino Tomlin, Coach Tomlin's son, he is an undrafted free agent signee with the Buccaneers, or at least a camp invite for them. We'll have to see if he makes it back to Pittsburgh and is able to practice against his Pops team. We'll see. Should be interesting. Again, like I said, could set up for bad blood for that only preseason game at Acrisure Stadium in August. Watching the Bucs-Astros game, 1 out for Paul Skenes already. Grounder to Key Brian Hayes at third, throw on to first. Gets him by a step, 2 down in 8 pitches for Paul Skenes so far tonight. Back into some Penguins news, some just minor stories here. The Penguins, they relinquished their rights to one of their forward prospects, Chase Yoder. He was a 6th round pick in 2020. The Penguins now relinquishing his rights. He is no longer a part of the organization or under the umbrella of the Penguins in any way, shape, or form. However, they did add goaltender Maxim Pavlenko for the 2025-26 season. That is a minor league signing by the Wilkes-Barre Penguins. Pavlenko went 1-4-0 with a .375 goals against average and an .881 save percentage in the IIHF World Championship for his home country of Kazakhstan. Before that, he was in Russian's VHL, in which he had a 9-16-1 record. So another goalie from that region of the world. Of course, the Penguins, I think they got one of the best goaltending prospects in the game, Sergei Miroshov. He might have not a fellow countryman, but someone from his region of the world joining him in Wilkes-Barre. Back to the Buccos real quick. Paul Skenes there just got a pop out to Spencer Horwitz to end the top of the first inning. Talking about the well, hang on here. I got one more thing on the football team, actually. Going back to the whole Gabe Davis, Jonnu Smith thing. If the Steelers, if they really want one of these guys, or even if they want Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, I saw this from Spotrac a little bit ago. The Steelers, they are still in the top 10 in terms of salary cap, space right now. They are, along with the Dallas Cowboys, have $32 million in salary cap space. Just looking at the other teams here, I don't see any of them, needing a wide receiver. So the Steelers with $32 million in cap space, if they need to throw, $8, $10, $12 million on a one-year deal at Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, I'd do it. Or if they're really high on Gabe Davis and say one team's offering him vet minimum, if you want to give him 3 or 4, do that as well. You got the space, time to use it. And, they're also saving it for the possibility of Aaron Rodgers. But at some point, you got to stop waiting for Rodgers and start making moves. Back to the baseball team, like I was saying here, an interesting piece from ESPN's Jeff Passan. He put out a article today on ESPN's website talking about sort of the upcoming trade deadline. We are technically in trade deadline season for the MLB right now. And he was talking about the Pirates, got down to the Pirates section, delivered an absolute zinger right off the bat, talking about what the Pirates' objective would be at the deadline. He put, the Pirates' objective is to continue the ruse of acting like they want to win when the approach suggests otherwise. Passan, for the most part, he said a lot of the right things about Bob Nutting being cheap and that the Pirates need to spend money and build around Paul Skenes. However, I think he's also not in favor of getting a salary cap or floor to make, baseball a more competitive product. But absolutely love that. And no Pirates fan, including myself, could have written that quote any better. The Pirates' objective is to continue the ruse of acting like they want to win when the approach suggests otherwise. Put it on a billboard, put it on a sign, buy an ad on the outfield wall, and write that quote there. As O'Neal Cruz in the bottom half of the first inning, he just walked, so he is on base. An immediate base running threat, could steal a bag right here. That's it for the Pirate news. Actually, it was just that quote, and the rest of the news will be coming as we move along here in this one. Paul Skenes, he got through the first inning pretty smoothly there. 3 up, 3 down against the Houston Astros. And now Andrew McCutchen, with his .264 batting average, steps up to the plate against Lance McCullers. And there is a very much outside the zone strike call for Lance McCullers there. O'Neal Cruz is on first base. So let me take one more scroll here through Twitter before I log off for the night. Take a look, see if there's any other news. Just more of everybody reposting saying that there are renewed talks between the Steelers and the Dolphins for Jonnu Smith, allegedly renewed. Of course, I think that is again just Jonnu Smith's agent Drew Rosenhaus pulling some strings there with the top insider in the game. Looking else here, not seeing anything else. Just some more Pirate stuff that we already talked about today, and some more news on the Bucs and the game that is currently going on. This is actually something here. John Drecker, who he writer on the Pirates and has a book about Pittsburgh Pirates history. Breaking a bit of news here. The Pirates released pitcher Carson Fulmer today from the Indianapolis Indians. He had a .464 ERA with 38 strikeouts and a .267 batting average against in over 42 and 2/3 innings pitched. Andrew McCutchen grounds that one to third. What a play. My goodness. Is that Isaac Paredes? And indeed it was the former Chicago Cub Isaac Paredes. Andrew McCutchen hitting a pretty well struck ground ball down the third base line. Paredes grabbing it on the backhand, and as he is fading towards foul territory, gets the throw on the first and beats McCutchen. What a play there. Credit where credit's due. That's a good play. So not seeing anything else, just everybody now gushing over Paul Skenes, a 1-2-3 first inning after throwing 11 pitches. Brian Reynolds is now up looking to continue his hot recent weeks. Seems like he always turns it on in June, and also I think he might be a new dad here soon. Maybe within the next month, so he'll have that dad power on top of whatever he's figured out at the plate. With that, I think that's going to be it for the night. Thank you all for joining me here. Some good viewership numbers. Let me check this real quick. Still at 390 subscribers. So for the final time, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live. Going to try here in the coming weeks to get up to 400 plus subscribers. I would appreciate it if you would help in doing so. Shout out to Flocko again. Thank you for commenting here tonight, my brother. Appreciate you as always. And with that, we're going to wrap it up here. Continue to watch the Bucs. Hopefully get back in the win column tonight against the good Houston Astros. Jose Altuve's back at second. I think he's at second base. They tried him in left field earlier this year, and I don't think that experiment worked out too well. It was worse than O'Neill's early days in center field, if you want a comparison. It looks like he's still out there. Maybe. I don't know. We'll figure that out. So with that, last time, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, like, share, and comment on this video. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for joining me here tonight. We will be back about the same time tomorrow, like always, between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. And appreciate you all. Go watch the Bucs. And I love you all. See you back here tomorrow for some more Pittsburgh news. Peace. Have a good night.